You're watching a segment of The Splash, Greater West Bloomfield's news magazine show.
Welcome back to The Splash. I'm joined this week by Rich Wilson, director of Don't Drink the Water at Stagecrafters and also the treasurer of Stagecrafters. And thanks so much for being with us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So, of course, I met you because I auditioned for Don't Drink the Water, currently in the show, but there's a little bit of issues going on with this. So first of all, let's talk about the show in general, Don't Drink the Water. Tell me about it.
Don't Drink the Water is a comedy about a family, husband, wife, and daughter, that are vacationing in Eastern Europe during the Cold War. And like any father, Walter wants to take a picture of what's going on and happens to take a picture of a few missiles and launching sites. And the government of that country thinks that they're spies, and so they run into the American embassy claiming asylum for protection from the government.
Right. And from there, it just goes downhill.
From there, it goes downhill. You have an ambassador who is gone. His son is running the embassy and who basically has been kicked out of every country that he's ever been in within the Foreign Service, normally under very bad circumstances. And so it's basically a comedy of errors as they try to hatch a plan to get Walter and Marion and Susan, the Americans, out of the embassy and back to the U.S.
Back to Jersey, right?
Back to New Jersey, yes.
Back to Jersey. So yes, so the show is a lot of fun.
It is.
I have been loving the rehearsals, and now we have come to a screeching halt.
We have.
So let's talk about that. I mean, the impact on not just Stagecrafters, but in general, this is going to be a big loss of money if these shows get canceled.
It is. It is detrimental for not just Stagecrafters, but all community theaters, not only in Detroit, but all over the place. We had shows that were planned, and our shows are budgeted by year. Mm-hmm. Right now, we have a smaller theater upstairs called our second stage, which is a 100-seat theater, that we had working the musical that was supposed to open this past Friday. We canceled the first weekend.
So they never opened?
They never got to open.
Okay.
They were fully rehearsed. They were ready to go.
Set was up, everything.
And the board discussed things on Thursday and made the decision Thursday evening, nope, we can't do this. For safety reasons, not only of the actors, but also of the patrons, we had to close. So we have not canceled things the entire run of it. It was due to run for 3 weekends. But we are following the governor as well as the CDC guidelines, where as long as the prohibition against central meeting areas is in place, mm-hmm. we will have to continue to cancel them. But we're keeping them on the calendar from the aspect that if by some stroke of genius next Wednesday, the skies part, the CDC
right.
comes down and says everything is fine, you can start meeting in public areas again, we can still go on and those tickets will be honored. But it can be a very large financial drain on the organization. Primarily for a community theater, that's one of our big money makers, obviously, is the sale of our tickets. Mm-hmm. And if we can't perform a show, it becomes a drain on your revenue. Fortunately, there are options that patrons can make. If you miss a show, you can donate your price of your ticket as a donation to the theater.
Oh, okay.
Rather than asking for a refund. Or you can get a ticket to a subsequent show, which again, doesn't cost the theater any money. It's just a simple transfer of funds. But if a patron does call up and say, my show is canceled, I want a refund, of course we will refund their money. But there are other avenues that people can pursue rather than automatically assuming I want my money back.
Right. So, okay, so our show is set to open April 10th.
Yes.
So we are kind of right on that line, right?
We're very much on the cusp of go, no go.
Right. That
everything right now I've heard is either March 31st or even extended all the way through April 8th is sort of when the ban expires. Our show is the 10th. Even the construction of our set has had to halt. So we've got walls built that mm-hmm. haven't been installed yet for our set. So if we were asked, or if the ban was lifted on the 8th, we would probably have to cancel the first weekend and reassign those shows later on in the run. For instance, the first weekend is just a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We could do a Saturday matinee and a Sunday evening performance for 2
okay.
weekends to make those up. Give us another week to
Get
get
the
the set
setup.
built, get the actors ready to go, and then we would open.
Okay.
So it would be a bit of a rush, but I think for everyone that's involved with the show, we would probably want to go ahead and do the show with as hard as everyone has been rehearsing, with the people that are doing costumes and props and
There's
building
so many
the set.
people involved.
There's so many people involved outside of just the cast that, to be fair to them, if we can go, I'm hoping that the board will agree for us to go. We're actually meeting Wednesday to talk about not only the performances of Working that are still on the calendar, but also Don't Drink the Water, and how long we will go before we would say, all right, this show we're going to have to postpone the opening of the first weekend and we'll reschedule shows, or are we just going to let those shows go and just open the second week?
No, don't let it go. This is my first show in like 10 years. So it's been a lot of fun, but in all seriousness, I mean, revenue's lost, and people do. I mean, I have a small part, so I am invested, but not as much as the other people. And you had said at auditions you wanted to do this show for a couple of years, right? So this has been on your radar for a long time.
I got chosen in November of 2018. Yes, to do this show.
Okay.
So literally, I have waited almost 2 years
Right.
to do this show. And just like Working, and there's a show after ours upstairs in the smaller theaters, The Stick Wife. They've waited that long too, and it's really sad what is happening, not only on the professional theaters like Broadway, but our regional theaters and our community theaters, where people who have real jobs, that they love the theater, they go and audition for a show such as you did, volunteer their time and efforts, work their 9-to-5 job, then go to the theater and rehearse from 7 to 10 o'clock, 3 to 4 days a week, get a show ready to go, and then have something like this happen, and it's all for nothing.
It's amazing, though. I mean, when has this ever happened?
I don't remember this ever happening. It's hard to wrap my head around, why the quarantines, if you want to call them that, or the bans on public meetings. I just have to put my faith in that the CDC and our governor knows what is best for the people, not only of the state of Michigan, but also of the U.S., and that if this is the best way to beat this virus, then that's what has to be done.
So real quick, tell me what theater means to people. I mean, you have season ticket holders. I know what it means to me, but in general, the public, tell me what it means.
It's a way of escaping. It provides some place where you can go and for 2 or 3 hours be transformed into some place where all of your day-to-day worries disappear. We're scheduled to do Mamma Mia at the end of the season, opening the end of May, beginning of June. And for 3 hours you can go and be on a Greek Isle, even
That
though
sounds
you're
nice.
it does, doesn't it? You can be on a Greek Isle despite the fact that you're in a seat in the theater in Royal Oak, Michigan. It just gives you a window of something that you may not have the chance independently to see on your own. And it's not all happy.
Right.
Theater encompasses drama and encompasses comedy. For me, I like directing comedies. I'm a bit of a ham myself, so I think it just, if you haven't noticed through rehearsals, but to me, it's that sense of comedic timing that you've got to have, because if a line is funny, but it's delivered in the wrong timing, it can fall really flat. So it's making sure your actors knowing how to deliver a line to make sure that the audience is understanding in the comedic way that it's meant.
And plus, it's a great night, right?
It is.
I mean, it's a great night, whether you're at a matinee on a Sunday or just the evening. It's, people look forward to that.
They do, and for community theaters, it's an opportunity for people to experience theater that may not be able to afford tickets at the Fox or at the Fisher. I mean, our tickets at Stagecrafters generally are around between $20 to $25 depending on the venue, which when you compare that to a Fox or a Fisher is half, maybe a third of the price of the tickets. And ours, a $25 ticket can get you front row. versus at the Fisher where a front row ticket can cost you $225. A little bit of a difference there.
A little bit, just a little bit of a difference. Okay, so if anyone was interested in keeping up to date on shows that are hopefully going to go up at Stagecrafters, what do they need to do?
They can go to www.stagecrafters.org.
Okay.
We will keep things posted on there about what shows are up, and they can see what shows not only for the rest of this year, but once we announce our season for next year, they can see what shows are coming up for there. They can go. There's a link to order tickets online. They can also become a season ticket holder, which basically would allow them the opportunity to see all 5 of our main stage shows for next year. Basically, the bargain price is that you get 5 shows for the price of 4.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay, well, you know what? We're going to keep our fingers crossed that Don't Drink the Water goes up, right?
Exactly.
So thank you so much, Rich. I appreciate you coming.
You're very welcome.
And again, we have been joined by Rich Wilson, my director of Don't Drink the Water, and also the treasurer of Stagecrafters.
Thanks for watching this segment of The Splash. To watch the entire show or other segments, catch us on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99. Or look us up online at thesplash.tv and listen to us every week on 89.3 WBLD, the all-new Lakes FM.